9 months since we last visited this iconic venue for the year's opening encounter, we are back at the spiritual home of Australian motorcycle racing. Hello and welcome to Phillip Island for round 6 of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championship presented by Motul. The championship point situation heading into round 6 sees Mike Jones hold a 29-point lead over defending champion Wayne Maxwell with 5 races left in the championship. Brian Starring still holds down 3rd place, a further 24 points behind Maxwell, and is still very much a championship challenger.
And what a place this is to ride to. Turn 1, 210 kilometres an hour, back down through the gearbox there, breathing on the brakes, quick acceleration burst up to the southern loop, keep it steady through the middle of that corner, get on the gas nice and early through one of the most iconic corners on this track. 3rd gear, 270, sideways through there into the newly named Miller corner. Be careful here, you can get caught out on the way out. We've seen people high side out of there before. Head towards the ocean, into Siberia, turn 5. On the left, you might see some shoulders scraping the ground there. Click up through the box, 90 kilometres an hour, all the way up to the famous Hayshed corner, where you hit 160 kilometres an hour. It's so critical to get the line right through that one, all the way out to the edge of the track. Click back through the box and up over Lukey Heights into the hard braking corner through there at 100 kilometres an hour down into MG. Quick click through the gearbox out of this one. Want to get through 1st, 2nd, 3rd gear on the edge of the tyre. You can really feel it squirming through here, out to the edge of the track and onto the most important corner at this circuit, turn 12. Really important to get a good drive out of there. Tuck down under the screen, get over that finish line and get a great lap time.
Welcome back to Phillip Island. The Michelin Supersport riders are making their way round onto the grid now for the final race on today's program. It is the 2nd and final race for round 6 of the championship for the Michelin Supersport riders. Littrus comes into this race with a 5.5-point championship lead over Ty Lynch after race 1 earlier today. Tom Bamrich, Jack Passfield and John Littrus will all start from the front row of the grid, with Scott Nicholson, who crashed out of race 1, Dallas Skier and Ty Lynch on row 2.
Jacob Hatch, Jake Farnsworth and Reece Billing fill out row 3. Row 4 is Archie McDonald, who couldn't start the race earlier today. Tom Drain, back from America. Brendan Wilson, good result from him in 4th on that grid. John Quinn, Tarbin Walker, Declan Cranberry on the 5th row. Noel Mann, Jack Flavelle and Luca Durning round out row 6.
Yes, very important race here for the championship. The championship won't be won in this race, Steve, but any mistake could see the championship start to slip away for any of our championship protagonists. As we get ready to go racing, the green flag is about to leave the back of the grid, red flag at the front. You can almost see the tension on Jack Passfield's face as he starts from 2nd place on the grid, won the race earlier today. Lights are on. Michelin Supersport is go. Look like another good start from Tom Bramage. Also a good start for Ty Lynch on board bike number 85 from the 2nd row of the grid. But as they make their way down towards turn 1, I think you'll find it will be Littrus sneaking up the inside that can't quite get ahead of the very fast starting Tom Bramage once again on board bike number 44. It is Littrus in 2nd, Passfield in 3rd, Lynch in 4th, and coming up into a 5th place is that Dallas Skier.
It looks like it could be Dallas Skier as they head round the southern loop and onto that back straight and into the Casey Stoner corner for the very first time. Tucked in behind the screen. Tom Bramage doing a brilliant job there, but he's got a lot of pressure from the man behind him. John Littrus looks up the inside and it looks like he's made a move really early through the Miller corner.
Yeah, Littrus into the lead. Ty Lynch up into 3rd place, getting the better of Jack Passfield as well. He's seen his championship rival go to the lead of this race and pin the ears back. Has Ty Lynch. Of course, the race this morning, Steve, started in very cloudy conditions, and then it was only halfway through the race that the rain came and the race was red flagged and the half points awarded. Completely different conditions here this afternoon. Brilliant sunshine, not too much breeze. In fact, conditions are almost perfect.
Absolutely. There's a lot of pressure in this race between the guy leading and the guy in 3rd at the moment. That's Littrus and Ty Lynch. As you said, 5.5 points in between those two guys, and the pressure is fairly and squarely placed on the shoulders of Ty Lynch in 3rd position at the moment as John Littrus leads this one. And we know how dangerous John is when he leads a race. He gets a bit of clear air in front of him and he just seems to take off. Tom Bramage there in 2nd position, doing the best job he can and a great job at that, hanging in there too.
Yeah, Tom Bramage's got plenty of speed this weekend. He's been fast in all the practice and qualifying sessions, and he also scored his first pole position of the year. In fact, it would also be his first pole position in the Michelin Supersport class. So Bramage goes to the lead. And sitting in second place is Letras. Running very wide there was Dallas Skier with an interesting line through turn 1. Ty Lynch has gone up into third place. Paxfield now back to 5th place. So the South Australians, Skier and Ty Lynch, just got a little bit of work to do to try and get onto our leaders that have just fractionally broken away.
Yeah, Passfield, the winner of the race earlier today, is just drifting backwards a bit. He showed such good speed in the first race. Perhaps they've made an adjustment on that bike that he's not happy with, but once again, Dallas Skier looking to go around the outside there. Couldn't quite do it there. That's a good overtaking opportunity, but he will be looking at the guys in front and seeing Tom Bramich and John Littress taking off up the road, so he won't want to be wasting any time at all. Don't want to give too much of a gap and lose a slipstream to these guys, but look at that, Tom Bramich back in front.
But did you see also how late Ty Lynch was into turn 4? The bike was really starting to move around. We mentioned Tom Bramich has got plenty of speed this weekend. He's also hungry for that first victory in the Michelin Supersport category.
Well, he led the first race today. Oh, that is not good. The 2 Yamaha men are down. That is not good for the championship, not good for Ty Lynch, not good for Dallas Skier. You can see how disappointed he is there. Dallas tried to go up the inside, taking him out. He's already got injured legs, broken ankles I think he's got, hasn't he, Ty Lynch? So this is such a disappointment for him. I'm sure that Dallas didn't mean to do that. Let's have another look on the AMX replay as they head down. Bang, just up the inside. Nothing for Ty Lynch to do. He's pretty much just a passenger in that. No room there. Bang.
He did try to stand the bike up, but I think by that stage, Dallas had tried to get into a position where he was able to get up the inside, but the door just closed on him. He was left with nowhere to go. But they almost came together at turn 4 earlier in the lap as well. So I'm pretty sure Littress is going to get a board now to indicate that Ty Lynch is out of this race. Tom Bramich still leading. Littress trying to come up the inside. Can't quite get it done. Passfield is starting to close in. Remember Passfield's race this morning, though, Steve? He was keeping his powder dry over the first lap or so. Then he started that charge, moved forward, moved up into the lead and started to pull away at the front.
So these guys are taking their time to build into this 10-lap race. Lap times in the 37s at the moment, 37.2 for Tom Bramich, our leader. He is the fastest man out there on track that last time around, 37.3 for John Littress behind him, and Passfield was a 38.1 that time. So work to do for Passfield, but you're right, Passfield's a sort of rider. He's methodical. He builds into these things.
Well, and also this morning, 36.675 was Jack Passfield's fastest lap of the race. So he's, at the moment, probably about 1.5 seconds off that lap time.
The conditions are way better now than they were this morning too. So I wonder if Jack Passfield's got some sort of issue that, I mean, it all looks good, but he's just not doing the same lap times that he was able to replicate in qualifying and also now. But 37.3 that time round for Passfield, so he must have just had a bad lap. Up the inside looks to go John Littress, but can't do it.
He put up the inside of Tom Bramich there, but you can see Tom Sawyer was there and just went a little bit deeper into the braking zone on board the Apex Group Bear Bird Yamaha R6. The Caboolture Yamaha Sol Invictus rider just had no way to try and get past on that run in towards turn 1. They are still glued together, though, as they make their way through turn 3. Passfield desperately trying to hang on, but on the last lap, it was the 1:37.142 fastest lap of the race. So that incident at turn 10 is under investigation.
Yeah, I mean,
you can probably pretty much say that was a racing incident, Steve.
A racing incident, but one that Ty Lynch didn't want to be involved in, and Dallas Skier either, really. I mean, they were both just going for it. Dallas tried to nip up the inside. There wasn't a lot of room there, but he'd already committed, and, you know, they were sort of side by side when they both went down, but you'd have to look at it quite a few times before you fully apportioned the blame to one rider.
Well, we did mention that you wouldn't be losing, or you wouldn't be winning the Supersport Championship in this race, but it could have a big impact if anything was to go awry, and unfortunately that's exactly what's happened for Ty Lynch on board bike number 85.
Well, it's not over till it's over, because John Littress is still a young rider, and finishing second won't be on his card.
No, exactly right. He'll be desperate to try and go for the win and maximise the point haul in this race. But he's got a very determined Tom Bramich in front of him on board bike number 44. Bramich has not had a win since stepping up to the Supersport class. He is also a multiple Australian champion in Supersport 300 and also Moto 3 as well.
Yeah, and if history speaks, this is Tom Bramich's come good track. Like, he literally you know, if he's having a year of battles, he just comes good at Phillip Island. Here or Winton is where his favourite tracks.
Well, let's head down to KP for an update from pit lane.
Yeah, I just spoke to Jack Pascal's dad. The conditions are obviously far more favourable for him. He doesn't know why the lap times are slower. He thinks he might just be trying a little bit too hard. He just needs to settle down the nerves and just get into a flow and rhythm.
Well, he's done that exactly, Kate, because he's just done the fastest lap of the race with a 36.978, and look where he's arrived. He's arrived right on the back of John Littress's Caboolture Yamaha as they make their way out of Siberia and head up the hill towards the hay shed. They'll flick it now right and go through this dauntingly fast corner, and then up towards the top end of the circuit across the top of Lukey Heights. And Passfield is in a position now, Steve, where he's going to get some slipstream advantage as they come out onto the Gardner Straight.
Yeah, it was 0.6, so his dad can take a breath. He was 0.6, if not this lap even quicker than the other two guys in front. And he's right on the back of them now. He's caught up to them, which just points to, you know, he's a thinking rider. He's methodical. He takes his time to warm everything up. He doesn't make too many mistakes, and he's put himself in the box seat now. He knows he's caught these guys, and when you can catch from that far back, it gives you an extra added confidence as well.
Well, we're on lap 6 now of the 10-lap scheduled race distance. Littress tries to go up the inside of Bramich, but Bramich once again just lets the brakes off. His corner running speed into turn 1 is absolutely sensational. Littress has tried a couple of times to try and get past, but there's no way he can get past Bramich on the brakes down in towards turn 1. So the provisional point update with Ty Lynch crashing out, we now see 179.5 points for Littress and 159 for Ty Lynch, and Tom Bramich has really brought himself back into the challenge for second place in the championship, and if things go awry at the Bend Motorsport Park, could even end up being crowd champion, because there's 51 points up for grabs at the final round, but there's also 25 points up for grabs here, and as you pointed out before, Steve, anything can happen. Unfortunately, motorcycles have only got 2 wheels and they fall over every now and then.
Absolutely, absolutely right. And look at John Littress right on the back wheel of Tom Bramich now. Tom Bramich, low 37s there. Once again, Jack Passfield, the last lap he did was another 36.7, so that explains why he's right in the back. And we've seen him threatening to pass in a couple of different spots. He's got a lot of entry speed over John Littress in front of him, but John just can't seem to find a way past Tom Bramich.
Well, out of turn 10 they come up towards the very fast run that starts at turn 11 all the way round through turn 12 where they are now, and then out onto the Gardner Straight.
Just looked like a little bit of front chatter there through that final turn here at Phillip Island for the number 44, Tom Bramich.
Once again, Littress tries to pull out of the slipstream, can't quite get it done, but here comes Passfield. Passfield up the inside of Littress. Littress goes back to 3rd position.
And that obviously will change the championship point standing too in the favour of Ty Lynch. So that will put more pressure on Littress in 3rd position. Yeah,
the difference in points between 2nd and 3rd is 2 championship points. In actual fact, it probably would be smart of John Littress to not get involved in any battles that could jeopardise that championship lead and just take a solid 18-point haul into the end of this race. But Passfield up the inside of Bramich at Miller Corner, turn 4.
Yeah, he's on a mission now, isn't he? He's really just shot through, doing a fantastic job there, Jack Passfield. He's weighed the 2 guys up in front of him. He's got much better corner entry speed and mid-corner speed. He's been able to carry that through. And now Tom Bramich gets to watch and learn from the man in front.
Well, Passfield was looking very comfortable this morning when the rain hit. He was out the front. Oh, he's just had a bit of a moment as he tipped it into the top of Lukey Heights there. He's obviously pushing extremely hard to try and get to the lead of this race and now try and make a little bit of a gap over Tom Bramich and John Littress.
I would say, looking at it, oh, he's definitely got the slides going on there as Jack Passfield. But Tom Bramich probably in the braking area is just lacking a little bit, the final bit of the braking area. And maybe he's not spinning, he's not willing to let the bike get out of control as much as Passfield on the exit. Passfield's definitely not scared to spin the wheel up, but meanwhile, up the inside goes Bramich, runs a little bit wide, but Passfield stays there again.
We were saying that Bramich was missing a little bit in the braking area. I don't think he's using the brakes into turn one. The speed with which he's going in there, he seems to be running in so much faster into turn one than both Littris and Passfield. That's why he's back in the lead.
Yeah, he's definitely got a really good line into there. He gets a good drive out of the final turn, doesn't spin it up too much. If you do spin it up, you lose, you can lose drive. Littris always looking up that inside line there to see if he can do it, entering the corner nice and tight, but not really threatening to do so there.
Well, Tom Bramich has been doing a lot of work with Wayne Maxwell, giving him a lot of tips, gave him some tips before race one, where he scored a very solid second place in the race earlier on today, and been doing a lot of training at Moto Tuesdays as well on the Ovales in preparation for these final 2 rounds of the championship, the big double-header weekends here at Phillip Island and next weekend at the Ben Motorsport Park in South Australia, as we come up towards the top of Lukey Heights now on lap 8 of 10. So 2 laps to go as they cross the start-finish line at the completion of this lap. It is still Passfield that leads. He's also done the fastest lap of the race on lap 5, a 1:36.764 on the last lap. All of our lead riders were in the 37s. Then Scott Nicholson in 4th was in the 38s, along with Archie McDonald back out on the grid. Great ride from Archie up into 5th position, and he'll be extremely happy with that after the disappointment of not being able to get the bike out onto the grid for the first race this morning.
Absolutely, remembering that Archie, the youngster, is also riding the older model R6, not the new one, not the one with the upside-down forks. Jack Passfield goes around the outside there into turn 1. Big move by him. Bramich in 2nd. And John Littris just a couple of bike lengths back at the moment.
Yeah, so Littris actually looks like he's a little bit further behind than what he has been on the last couple of laps. But you can see Bramich tried to get up the inside of Passfield, but Passfield had just pulled out too much of a lead through turn 11 and 12, and then down the Gardner Straight for Tom Bramich to come back. But this is where Passfield's strong. That's where he's overtaken Tom Bramich on the last couple of laps. And if anything, he's probably pulled a bike length on the brakes there into the turn 4 area. And Littris has closed right up onto the back of Bramich as well. This is going to be a little bit of a cat and mouse game now to see who positions themselves perfectly for the run to the flag in a lap's time, because this is the penultimate lap, Steve.
Well, if I was one of these 2 guys here right now and I could stay with Passfield, but Passfield's starting to put the pressure on, isn't he? I would literally be trying to just save everything I got, relax as much as I can, knowing that this final lap is going to be an absolute cracker. So if you can just save a little bit of energy now, you're definitely going to use it up.
Did you see how on the limit Jack Passfield was there as he came across the top of Lukey Heights and down in towards 10? The bike was literally sideways at the same time that he was getting on the brakes. He is riding the wheels off this machine, and Tom Bramich is managing to go with him. Littris has probably just dropped off the back of fraction. Do you see the chatter then from Littris' machine through turn 12? Yeah, the bike was really starting to shake as we get the last lap board. 1-2 to go. Oh, it's one of the Irish team riders. I think you'll find that that's John Quinn has crashed out.
John Quinn's down.
Is that turn 1? It's a massive gravel trap wherever he is. No, it looks like it will be Siberia. And there he goes, unfortunately crashing out into Siberia, the big gravel trap there at the bottom end of the circuit. That's a long walk back to the pits from there, John.
Yeah, certainly is.
Won't be winning the fastest Irishman in this race, that's for sure.
Nope, but meanwhile, Tommy Bramich back in front.
This is where Passfield's been strong on the brakes down into turn 4, or has Tom Bramich been keeping his powder dry?
Well,
no, Passfield down the inside. Littris has a look as well.
Tom really left the door open there. It was, he's right out on the right-hand side of the track. He needs to fix that up for the last lap if, next time he comes here, that's for sure. He takes these wide sweeping lines on the final lap, and you can't do that on the final lap. You've got to close him down. Passfield on the gas. It's going to come down to the slipstream to the finish line.
It is. They head up towards, through the hay shed now and up towards the top of the hill. Passfield's been very fast and aggressive across the top of Lukey Heights here and down into turn 10. Last time he was bordering on being out of control as he got onto the brakes down the hill. You can see it there again.
Wide,
he's done it again.
Bramich
he's run extremely
through.
wide. And Bramich has got the run through, but Passfield is now going to get the slipstream as they come out onto the Gardner Straight. 2 corners to go, Steve, as they come through turn 11, through turn 12. It is Bramich leading from Passfield. Littris is also going to get the double slipstream as they come out onto the start-finish straight. But can Tom Bramich take his first win of the year on board bike number 44, the Apex Bear Bird machine? I think he's going to hang on. Tom Bramich is going to hang on across the line. He takes his first win of the year. Jack Passfield Passfield in second, John Litchis in third, and I think they're all happy with that result, but none more so than Tom Bramich. Congratulations on your first win of the year.
That was a brilliant ride. Scotty Nicholson comes over the line with Archie McDonald just behind him on the old model R6. So Scotty Nicholson redeeming himself from his off earlier today, getting that fourth position. Archie McDonald in fifth. And Jake Farnsworth, that's a great result in sixth.
Yeah, another great result for Jake Farnsworth, who has had a sensational back end of the season. And what a massive effort there from Archie McDonald, been racing overseas on different machinery to what he's been riding here this weekend. Comes out, rides an R6, the old model, as
well,
you
the
said,
vintage
Stu.
R6
the vintage R6, which pretty much was the same back in 2008, I think it was, as what that bike is. And he finishes in 5th place in a Michelin Supersport race, so well done. But congratulations to Tom Bramich and the whole team. It's a real family affair with Dad Darren, Mum Kim up there helping out this weekend. Of course, Wayne Maxwell, who's been doing a lot of work with Tom Bramich. So congratulations to them. It's been a long time coming, but I'm sure they'll be celebrating tonight.
Oh, absolutely. What a brilliant, brilliant result for Tom. He really deserved that win with Jack Passfeld in second. John Litchis takes third position. Scott Nicholson that fourth. Archie McDonald in fifth. Jake Farnsworth, another great result for him. Reece Belling, the bricklayer, is back. Tom Drain from America in eighth, who's done the flat tracking in America. Brendan Wilson in 9th, Tarbin Walker 10th, Luca During 11th, Jack Favell 12th, Noel Mahon, the Irishman, in 13th, Declan Cranberry 14th, John Quinn takes 15th, Ty Lynch, who didn't finish, and Dallas Skier. Both for those guys, unfortunately, will be duking it out and working things out in the pits later on today.
Yes. So John Litchis will now be on 177.5 points and Ty Lynch on 154. So what's that? 22.5 points, the difference coming into the final round of the year next weekend at the Bend Motorsport Park. But wow, Steve, what an absolutely fantastic race. There's going to be plenty of highlights to have a look there when we recap that very hectic 10-lap race.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, the Honda highlights. We got off to a good start with Bramich getting a fantastic start from pole position, but Ty Lynch also getting a good start. Litchis was also strong, but as they made their way down in towards turn one, it was Bramich that took the lead, and slotting around the outside was Jack Passfield on board bike number 42. Scott Nicholson was also very aggressive early, but Litchis was keen to get to the front.
Yeah, it didn't take Litchis long to get to the front. Normally when he gets to the front, he's unchallenged, but that wasn't going to be the case because Tom Bramich had enough. He said, you know what, I'm taking my bare bird machine back past.
Dallas Skier was looking very aggressive early on, made a big move at turn one, and then unfortunately the move went a little bit wrong at turn 10, taking out his fellow South Australian as he just lost the front end on the brakes as Ty Lynch tried to tip into the corner, and the two R6s crashed out and ended up on the outside of turn 10. That lead left a lead group of 3, and they battled from there all the way to the flag with Tom Bramich, Jack Passfield swapping the lead, and Litchis seemingly quite content just to sit back there in third place.
It was almost like a game of chess at this point, with everybody taking different lines into the newly named Miller corner, with number 44, Tom Bramich, leaving the door wide open. Then it was the number 31, of course, John Quinn, who went down, and that was the end of his race. Looks the walk of shame back to the pits.
There on the last lap, it was Passfield coming up the inside of Tom Bramich to get the running into turn 4. He'd done that manoeuvre plenty of times, but then we'd been seeing aggressive moves on the top of Lukey Heights and down in towards turn 10. Unfortunately, he was a little bit too aggressive on the brakes there, ran a fraction wide. Bramich came up the inside and was able to hold off the hard-charging Jack Passfield on the run to the line, with our championship leader, Litchis, coming in second place. Now it's time to head down to the pits with KP.
John Litchis in P3. You put the pressure on, but you just couldn't catch them. However, you have hung on to your championship lead.
Yeah, to be honest, it was a good race. We made some good points, and I did the best of what I had. We lost a bit of rear grip in the final lap, so I think we got to work on a little bit of setup, and we should be fairly good.
Excellent. Well, good luck for the next race.
Cool, thank you.
And in P2, Jack Passfield. Jack, you started a bit tight, then you loosened up and you found your flow and you set the fastest lap. Another podium, well done.
Yeah, I just ran a bit wide on the first lap in the second corner, and then I had a lot of work to do to catch back up to him. But I got in a pretty good rhythm, and hopefully we can go one better tomorrow again.
Great entertainment. Thanks so much. Well done.
Thank you.
And in P1 for his first win, plus a pole. This is a great weekend already so far. Tom Bramage, well done.
Yeah, thanks, Kate. Yeah, it's been a lot of hard work over this year. The team have never given up, and we've just kept trying to chip forward. And yeah, I'm really relieved and really happy to get this win. So yeah, looking forward to tomorrow, and yeah, hopefully we finish off the round strong.
You go enjoy that win.
I will. Thank you.
Time to go racing for Michelin Supersport now as the riders are coming round to finish off this final warm-up lap. There's Brendan Wilson making his way back to the grid. So far in the 2 races this weekend, he has been the fastest of the 3 Irish riders that are all vying for the title of fastest Irishman around Phillip Island this weekend. As they make their way down to take up their positions on the grid, we have so far seen Tom Bramage and Jack Passfield both take a win, and they will both start from the front row of the grid in first and second position. John Littress, who leads the championship, is also on that front row of the grid. Scotty Nicholson, Dallas Skier and Ty Lynch, those two probably not talking to each other in 5th and 6th position, Steve.
No, absolutely. After the incident earlier on this weekend, Jacob Hatch is out for the weekend. Jake Farnsworth starts in 8th. He's been an improver. And Reece Billing there in 9th.
Yeah, Archie McDonald had a good ride in race 2, couldn't make the grid in race 1 after coming back from overseas. Great to see Archie back on the grid in Michelin Supersport. Ready to go racing, the red lights are on. Supersport is go. Look like a pretty good start from Tom Bramage there as well from pole position, and he will get the jump as they come underneath the flag, but watch Littress come flying down the inside as he has done in races 2 and 3. Slots into 3rd position. Around the outside though, it's Scotty Nicholson on board bike number 39 that takes up the running in 3rd. Can he make a bid for 2nd? No. Where is Ty Lynch? He's back there in 5th position, Steve.
Yeah, Ty Lynch didn't get the start that he wanted, but at least he's on the back of that group of 4, the protagonists in this race and in the championship, all up in that front group now. But Tom Bramage taking off where he left off in the last race, leading the way with Jack Passfield behind him. These 2 guys had a ding-dong battle earlier on.
Littress trying to go up the inside of Nicholson down into turn 3. That move is successful as Passfield goes up the inside on the exit of turn 4, the Miller corner, to take up the running at the front. Tom Bramage slipping back to 2nd. And if anything, I think Ty Lynch has actually just dropped off the back of fraction, not doing anything silly, just making sure everything's warmed up and ready to go.
Yeah, well, he's got to, warm his body up. He's riding in a lot of pain after the injuries he received yesterday. He was already injured coming into this weekend was Ty Lynch. I can also see there behind him, Archie McDonald got off to a great start, already up into 6th position on that older model R6, the number 69 machine there in the back of your screen.
Yeah, Jake Farnsworth in 7th. Dallas Skier's gone back to 8th place off the start. Maybe a little bit tentative on the run in towards turn 1 for the first time for Dallas Skier, who has been riding incredibly well,
he has been
over the last couple of rounds. So disappointing that he'll be back that far and needs a fair bit of work to do in these first couple of laps to get up with these lead groups.
Look, I think Dallas, he's got the skill and the talent, but I think he's probably a bit nervous after yesterday. He came together with Ty Lynch. It was his fault as we go down. Tom Bramage in the brakes. Littress takes them both. Oh, but he has to pull out of it through turn 1 there.
He was certainly had a lot of corner running speed into Doohan corner on that occasion, so it's Bramage back at the front. Championship leader, Littress in 2nd. Race 1 winner, Passfield in 3rd. Back to Scott Nicholson in 4th place, and Nicholson has finished very well in both of the races so far, but actually one of the races he crashed out of, that was race number 1, but he was right up the front when he did so, vying for the lead in those very slippery and wet conditions, as Bramage just managed to hold on to the lead because Littress was very narrow in there coming into Miller corner turn 4, trying desperately to get up the inside on the brakes.
Tom Bramage into that Miller corner, he really does leave the door open. Earlier on this weekend he left the door open there, and I think Jack Passfield got through. He needs to learn to start to close that down, perhaps modify his line there.
Up through the hay shed we come. The top 3 have just started to break away. Passfield was the fastest rider on the first lap, but this will be the first flying lap that we're seeing now. This will give us an indication of the lap times and how they compare to races 1 and 2. Because we've seen mixed conditions for Michelin Supersport here this weekend at Phillip Island.
Well, it looks sunny and dry out there at the moment too, but literally 5 minutes before this race, we had a burst of rain come over the circuit. So that's got to be playing on these guys' minds as well. Although it hasn't affected track conditions, you can see them all flat out, knees down on the ground. It's still, you know, you do not want to run wide. You don't want to get on a curb. We've had a lot of rain here on the weekend, so the grass is very wet. The ripple strips are still slightly damp too.
Look at the pursuing pack there. Ty Lynch involved in that pack, but he's now dropped back to 6th position. So you can see there's our top 4. The next rider through is bike number 49. That's Jake Farnsworth, who I have to say has been a real sensation over the last couple of laps, the last couple of rounds, hasn't he, Steve? Morgan Park, he had his best ever round, first ever podium, and he's been knocking on the door of the other lead riders here all weekend on board bike number 49. Then it's Archie McDonald.
Oh, up the inside.
Passfield, what a big move.
That was a big move, and he made it work too. Like, very tight on the entrance. Got John Littris worried, now looking over his shoulder. But this man, Johnny Littris, got a decent lead in the championship, so he won't do anything silly, which is why he looked over his shoulder. He can afford to finish in that position. All he's got to do to increase his lead over Ty Lynch is finish where he is and make sure Ty Lynch is behind him.
Well, at the moment, that shouldn't be too much of a drama because Lynch is back in 7th position. Remember, he came into this round with some significant injuries, riding with 2 broken ankles, is Ty Lynch this weekend. Probably didn't really need to have that crash up there at that exact corner where they just were then, turn 10 yesterday in race number 2.
Tom Bramich rode an absolute cracker of a first lap, 36.7, which is pretty much equal to his qualifying time. So Tom Bramich has got his eye on the ball this morning.
Look at the lead that he's managed to build up there. Speaking of building up a bit of a lead, let's head down to the pits with KP.
Yeah, I've just got an update from Jack Passfield's mechanic that he's only operating at 85%. He's still recovering from his fractured wrist and his snapped heel.
Yeah, so that's why Jack Passfield's struggling a little bit too. I mean, these guys, they put on a brave face, and when they put a set of new leathers on, boots and gloves, it's pretty hard to see how they're feeling on the inside. But they certainly, if there is a track that you can get away with riding with an injury, it sort of is Phillip Island, because there's only just really the 2 very hard braking areas. The rest is quite flowing.
Well, look who's together on tracks now. It is, well, there's Archie McDonald, then it's Jake Farnsworth, then it's Dallas Skier and Ty Lynch. The 2 South Australians are tightly packed on track once again. Let's hope they're not as tightly packed as they were at turn 10 yesterday. But I'll tell you what, Dallas Skier looks like he's got a little bit of pace here and looking increasingly desperate now to try and find a way park Jake Farnsworth on board the 49 machine.
Well, Archie McDonald's just done his fastest lap of the race last time through, which is a 1:38.2, very similar to John Littris last time out. So,
and as you mentioned also too yesterday, Steve, Archie's actually riding the older model R6,
correct,
which doesn't have the significant updates of the new model, but it just goes to show you that the Yamaha hasn't changed a lot over the years. It has been the mainstay of Supersport racing here in Australia for many, many years, but he's also coming back and riding a motorcycle, nothing like the bike that he's been riding overseas all year. So a big congratulations to Archie McDonald on board bike number 69. Now, there in the bottom of your screen, you can see the updated championship points. So if it stays the way that it is now, that lead will go out to 25.5 points with only 2 races left in the championship after this 3rd and final race here at Phillip Island, as Dallas Skier moves up a position, getting the better of Jake Farnsworth on the Gardner Straight. Yeah,
it looked like Skier just needed to get a couple of laps under his belt to get the woes of race 2 out of his system, and now it's status quo. Let's head down to Kate.
I just got an update from Tom Bramich's mechanic that he's still a second off his PB here, so there's heaps more in him.
Yeah, that's good to hear. The thing with that, as they talk about that, is that obviously it is quite windy here as well today. So Tom is consistently lapping in the 36s, which is pretty impressive stuff. His last lap through was 36.7. So the consistent thing for Tom to do is to just keep on. If he can bang out 36.7s lap after lap, which he's doing, it's gonna, he's gonna get to that checkered flag first.
Yeah, well, he's done 2 laps within 0.022 of a second of each other so far in the last 3 laps. So really consistent lap times there from Tom Bramich. And at the same time, he's opening up a small lead. It was bordering on about a second as they were halfway through this lap. We'll wait and see what it is at the completion of this lap. You can see that is a relatively significant gap between our race leader, Tom Bramich, and second place rider, Jack Passfield. But we have seen several times this weekend, Steve, Passfield get a little bit behind, but then seemingly at half race distance, get some more speed and start to close in towards the end of the race.
No, absolutely, and it is very tricky out there with these wins. I mean, as they come down that straight, they're going to get blown offline. They have to recalculate all their lines. Perhaps with the wind running across the track here, they can afford to go a bit tighter. It'll help them turn out of this southern loop. But as they head into Casey Corner, you've got to be real careful because you can end up running really wide. So you perhaps have to dip the throttle here a bit to get on that inside line and make sure the wind doesn't blow you out. Sometimes when it's gusty, it makes it even harder. But Jack Passfield is on a run at the moment. 36.4 for him. This is not what Bramich wants to see. On the AMX replay, we see again, have a look at this, up over Lukey Heights as we look at the back of the Bear Bird machine. Nice slide out of there from both of those Yamaha riders. And John Littress hidden in the middle.
Yeah, Littress pushing forward there and really getting involved in this battle at that run over the top of Lukey Heights. But at the moment, he's just dropped off the back. Has Littress on board the 308 machine, the Caboolture Yamaha Sol Invictus entry. And Passfield really putting it on. At one of the races, I think it was race 2 the other day, Steve, he was 1.3 seconds behind Bramich. And within a lap or two, he was 0.4 of a second behind. So it's not out of the realms of possibility that Jack Passfield on board the Stay Upright Rider Training R6 will be able to reel back in our race leader, Tom Bramich, who is currently enjoying about a 1 second buffer over the 42 bike of Passfield as they come onto the Gardner Straight to complete 6 laps.
Well, yeah.
The gap is 0.6 of a second.
Yeah, okay, so that is coming down, but it's one thing to catch up to Tom Bramich. It's another to pass. I hope his team has told him to close that line down heading into the Miller Corner, the newly named Miller Corner, because basically Tom there he leaves the door wide open, and you know, that's going to be where Passfield attacks in my mind later on in this race if he does catch him. Other than that, it's going to be pretty hard to pass Tom Bramich.
Yeah, there's Scott Nicholson on board bike number 39 doing a great job.
Something wagging off the side of Scott's bike there too, just on the right-hand side. I'm not sure what it was. It looks like an electrical wire or something. Perhaps he's had contact with someone. You can see it there just on the right-hand side. Archie McDonald's doing a good job just catching up to the back of him too.
And then right behind Archie McDonald is Dallas Skier. Then it's Ty Lynch back in 7th place. So Ty is going to lose a couple of points to Littress in this one. You can see that flapping there that you were just talking about, Steve.
Not so sure what it is. It's either a piece of race tape or...
It does look like a wire or something.
It
that's
does look like a wire,
behind the fairing. And look at this, Passfield is right up onto the back of Bramich now. We predicted this a couple of laps ago that he does show a lot of pace towards the mid and late session area of the races so far. He was 1.3 seconds behind in a race yesterday and managed to claw his way back, and that's exactly what he's done now as we come around to complete lap 7. This is going to be a sprint over the last 3 laps to the checkered flag. Look, Bramich and Passfield have pulled a massive gap over Littress. The gap now is just over 6 seconds.
It's one thing to catch. I mean, Tom's been doing all the hard work out the front. Passfield's there now. He's got a little bit of a slipstream. If he feels he's got massive pace advantage, I think we're going to see him rip past him and try and take a bit of a lead. But other than that, I think Passfield should probably sit there for the last lap. But for sure now, he's going to be eyeing up this inside move, because look at Tom there, all the way over to the right. And once again, he's left the door open. Through he goes, and he's made the move. Passfield runs a little bit wide, but holds it.
Almost contact there at the apex of Miller Corner, turn 4. But we saw yesterday too, Steve, that when Passfield got into the lead, he was very aggressive across the top of the hill at Lukey Heights and down into turn 10. 3 laps in a row, and the third occasion on the last lap was where he ran in there a little bit hot, ran wide. Tom Bramich came up the inside. Here's an AMX Superstores replay of that overtake. As you said, he was just in there nice and deep on the brakes on the inside line. Bramich left the door open, and Passfield accepted that invitation to go through into the race lead.
Yeah, absolutely. The strong part of the circuit for Bramich, though, is out of turn 12. And we know that if he can get a good run out of turn 12, get in the slipstream, he's got enough pace with his Yamaha to get back past Passfield. So that will be on his mind. It's Tom's turn now to learn something about Passfield and try and pick up where he can be stronger on this circuit.
It was so good to see these two riders both get their first victories of the year over the weekend so far as well, because Passfield coming back from a very significant injury at the beginning of the year that he's missed pretty much the entire season, and Tom Bramich, who's had gremlin after gremlin after gremlin in the setup of that Yamaha R6 over the past 2 years, has really seemed to got a handle on it now. The suspension's working for him. He's very at home on the motorcycle, and both of them scoring their first wins in the Michelin Supersport category in the 2 races that we've had so far this weekend. One of them, I feel, Steve, is going to go home with 2 victories under his belt.
Well, that is for sure.
Because Littrus is not going to challenge them now. The gap is out to over 8 seconds.
Look, Littrus
back to our third place rider.
Littrus is now thinking championship mode. He's just going to finish. He can,
Passfield has gone down, overly aggressive into the Siberia area, and he has crashed out of the race. And unfortunately, the stay upright machine is not upright, and it's in the gravel trap at Siberia.
And Tom will know now. He's got a massive lead, and that moves Littrus up to second and puts Nicholson on the podium at the moment.
Well, and after Scotty Nicholson's big crash at the top of Lukey Heights, vying for the podium in race 1, looks like he's given the marshals there the thumbs up. Let's see if we can see what happened. Just gets hard on the brakes, goes down the gears, and just lost the front of bike number 42 as they went into Siberia, tumbles through the gravel trap, and you can just feel the disappointment by looking at that photo.
Yeah, he just held that front brake lever on too hard, asked too much of the front tyre on the lean angle as he went in there. He needed to be letting the brake lever off as he went in there, and perhaps if he was too hot, run slightly wide. But he asked too much, didn't get away with it.
Well, Passfield did set the fastest lap of the race on lap 5, that 1:36.480, but it is Tom Bramich. And he's going to be the man that goes home with 2 victories from 3 starts here at round 6 of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championships, presented by Motul from the spiritual home of Australian motorcycling, Phillip Island. And only half a lap or so to go now for Tom Bramich as he rounds through Southern Loop and comes through Stoner Corner down into Turn 4, Miller Corner. The current lead is 8.6 seconds over John Littrus. Archie McDonald is actually up onto the podium in 3rd place now, getting the better of Scott Nicholson. So what a return to Australia for Archie McDonald if he can score a podium in this Michelin Supersport category. But Nicholson is not going to let him have it without a fight. Nicholson goes down the inside at Turn 4. Can't get past Archie at the apex of Turn 4. There is another late braking opportunity for Nicholson, though. That's at the top of the hill as they come down from Lukey Heights and into Turn 10.
Yes, definitely on between these 2 guys at the moment. Archie McDonald, what a brilliant job he's doing out front there. Scott Nicholson on the Michelin shod Yamaha, just tucked in there. He looks up the inside, he can't quite do it, loses ground into the Hayshed corner. But look at this, Tom Bramich. This is going to be the best and easiest win of his life at the moment. Massive lead. He is just loving this lap. The crowd on the outside, you can see him there. And boy, oh boy, Tom Bramich, what a ride by him.
There was a great struggle with Jack Passfield, but Passfield went down in that struggle, and Tom Bramich is going to take his 2nd victory of the weekend. Onto the Gardner Straight now for Tom Bramich for the last time, and the Apex Group Bear Bird machine takes its 2nd victory of the weekend. Congratulations to Tom and the Bramich family all here this weekend, and also John Littrus, who will take 2nd position and extend that championship lead even further over Ty Lynch, who at the moment has only moved his way up into 5th position. And Archie McDonald and Scott Nicholson are coming to the line, and it looks like Archie McDonald has just managed to take the final podium position from Scott Nicholson right on the line. There was less than a 1/10 of a second between them as they came across at that checkered flag. Ty Lynch will finish in 5th and Dallas Skier in 6th. Jake Farnsworth in 7th. Reece Belling will take 8th. Tom Drain 9th. And Brendan Wilson rounds out the top 10.
What a race, what a race. And, I mean, that is Bramich all over. He was on the limit all the way through that race. Passfield tried a little bit harder, pushed his luck, didn't hold it together, and that allowed Tom Bramich to just do his thing.
Yeah, I reckon Johnny Littrus is pretty excited with that 2nd position, and also the fact that he's managed to extend that championship lead.
Well, it takes pressure off him as we head into Tailem Bend next weekend.
with the current points lead, he's even in a position where he could win it depending on what happens in the first race. But let's recap those results. An 8.1 second win for Tom Bramage on board his Yamaha YZF R6 over John Littress, and Archie McDonald rounds out the podium in his return to the ASBK after a successful season overseas. Scott Nicholson took 4th, Ty Lynch in 5th, Dallas Skier in 6th, Jake Farnsworth 7th, Reece Belling 9th, 8th, Reece Belling in 8th, Tom Drain in 9th, and Brendan Wilson rounds out the top 10.
Jack Favell in 11th, Declan Carberry in 12th, Tarbin Walker in 13th, Noel Mann takes 14th, the last point to Luca Durning. 16th was Jack Passville, of course, he didn't finish, and John Quinn as well.
Let's have a look at the Honda race highlights for the Michelin Supersport category, and as they got off the line, it was Tom Bramage that got a good jump on board bike number 44 and led the field down in towards turn 1. Jack Passfield was in 2nd, and Nicholson, a big move around the outside to move up into 3rd.
Tom Bramage with that wide line allowed Passfield to go up the inside. He looked at it, but he didn't quite make it. Littress was there. Then he got through, and Bramage knew that there was a race on. John Littress was in this too, and Scott Nicholson was right there, but dropped off. Then it was down to a group of 3, and look at this move. Nearly all the way up the inside, but can't quite make it. John Littress, at this point, he was still thinking about the win.
Well, and while our championship leaders were battling out the front, it was Ty Lynch that sits in 2nd place in the championship. That was a little bit further back in the field. He was battling with Jake Farnsworth and Dallas Skier, and as you can see them going down the straight here, had a fair bit of work to do early on in the race.
Archie McDonald was making his way forward on the older R6 as well, battling up to what would be a brilliant return to Australia for him. But what a shot this is of those 3 hot young guns going over the top of the hill. Then it was Passfield up the inside. Bramage tried to get back up the inside but couldn't quite do it, had to back off, and Passfield put the hammer down.
Put the hammer down, and unfortunately he then went down at Siberia Corner with 2 laps to go, leaving Bramage 8 seconds ahead of Littress. But the battle was really on for the podium, with Nicholson and Archie McDonald fighting it out all the way to the checkered flag.
These guys probably didn't know that they were fighting for that final spot on the podium, but boy, oh boy, what a final lap it was for this man, Tom Bramage, on the Bear Bird Yamaha. Over the line he goes and takes his 2nd win of the weekend.
Down to KP to hear from our top 3.
P3, Archie McDonald, what a great way to return to Australia. That was an excellent battle there with Scott Nicholson.
It was. I'm surprised the jet lag isn't kicked in, but it's just out of. I've been here for a week now. Got the 600 down at Broadford for a test. Bit sketchy, but we come into practice and the bike had a failure with the gear shift. So Dad had to drive to Melbourne yesterday, come back and repair it, but we're finally on the podium. It's all worth it, you know, it wasn't for nothing. I'd like to thank all the boys, you know, I have Dad, all Gal Motor, everyone, but I couldn't have done it without KYT, Free Sport Boots, Onboard Moto, Earmold Australia really helped me out with a new set of earplugs, and everyone else just putting in their work to make this possible.
Well said, Archie.
Thank you.
And in P2, John Littress extending your championship lead. Now, did you play that safe, or was it championship points that you had in mind?
Yeah, played that race a little bit safe. Like, I didn't feel like I had the front grip to go with those boys. They were really going hard, so I didn't feel like I had the grip in the front end to do it. We just needed to work on some more setup, but it was a good weekend, and we've come out with a decent little gap on the points, so yeah, on to Calm Bend.
Congratulations, well done.
Thank you.
And in P1, his 2nd win for the weekend. Consistent laps, great start. You really found something, Tom Bramage.
Yeah, for sure, Kate. I'm really happy, you know. I can't thank my team, Luke and Ivan, Mum and Dad, and all my sponsors enough for, you know, it's been a tough year, and we feel like this has been coming for a while, but to finally get a round win and a couple of race wins is, yeah, it's awesome.
You go enjoy that win.
I will, thank you.
Well, congratulations to Tom Bramage. Let's have a look at the remaining rounds on the calendar here. Of course, we're at Phillip Island for round 6 of the championship here this weekend. One more round to go. You haven't got to wait long because it is next weekend November the 25th to 27th at Tailem Bend in South Australia. And the results today have set up a sensational final round of the championship. Lots of riders coming back from overseas. Once again, Jack Miller will be making his return with his good friend Marcel Schrotter. Josh Hook, our newly crowned World Endurance Champion, will be there as well. But this weekend has been absolutely fantastic. Great to be back with the World Superbike riders here at Phillip Island for the first time since February 2020. And Mike Jones goes into the final round trying to be the first rider, the first Yamaha rider since 2007 to take the Australian Superbike Championship. Plenty of riders are not going to let him have it easy at the final round at Tailem Bend. Thanks to Steve, thanks to Kate and all the team here this weekend. But for Phillip Island and the 6th round of the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championships, that's all for now.